Hello and welcome to the Man Like Radio podcast. Now let's do some godly talk for godly walk.
Well, hello and welcome. I'm Richard Boyd. Welcome once again to the Man Like Radio. We are live. That's right. Those who will be listening later in the podcast, of course, you'll be listening to the recorded version, I should say. I want to thank all of you, whether you listen live or recorded or join in on the program. Thank you so much for being a part of it. We want to God bless you and thank you. I want to remind you very quickly, we do, of course, on Man Like take questions. That's right. And since we got some experts tonight, you probably want to get some questions in. But we do take questions tonight, and you just go to Man Like. Now, there are three ways you can do it. You can email it at manlikeradio@gmail.com. You can send through the actual social media that you might be watching us on. If you don't mind your name being put down there, you can do it there. Or you can go to manlikeradio.com. Just click on the red button. That's right, the red button. You got it? Click on that red button there, and you'll be able to get your question if you want to stay anonymous. And our producer she's actually, I know, man like she. Okay, we have a woman producer. She's actually, I know, kind of sounds a double standard, guys. Anyway, when we get a guy in, a man is bold enough. But anyway, our producer actually will put that up on the Man Like Radio. I want to say hi to all of you who are already coming in. Hello there, ladies. Yes, ladies and men. Thank you for being part of the program. I want to say hi to you on social media and so forth. So we're ready to get into today. Today we're talking about stepdads, and I've got two men that I know, okay, and they are, one is my son-in-law, Dee Williams, Demetrius Williams. Dee, are you there?
I'm there. How's everybody doing?
He's here. Go ahead, Dee. I'm sorry.
No, I was just telling everybody good evening.
Yeah. And then we have my good friend, who could be a son-in-law too, I guess, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Anyway, my good friend also, both are really, Robert Cantu. Mr. Cantu, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm in the house. So
you're in the house. You're in the house.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm actually in my truck, but.
Oh, you're in the truck. Okay, so let's just let everybody know Dee's in his car, Robert's in his truck. So does that tell me that as stepdad you have no control over your home?
I think you could be right there.
Okay, we'll just leave that one right there. All right. So we're talking tonight about stepdads, and the reason why I felt it was important that you guys come on, because you guys don't just have just one stepchild, you have two or more. And that's a big order. So first of all, let me ask you this question. We're going to get into the questions. And then at the break, we'll also start taking, if anybody has any questions after that, at the break, we'll take the other people that people have on social media or whether they put it through the website. But let me throw this in to you gentlemen. Any one of you can answer this. And I have it written down here. What is a stepdad in your words? And believe me, I think you guys, I have to say in this, have enough experience so far.
Well, I mean, I can take that one. I think, being, I don't want to say politically correct, but just any man, that's married to a woman that takes being a father figure role to her children, and it's not necessarily being, dominant or serving and, being their dad, but just a father figure. And I think that's important to distinguish between the two. But so any man that will step up to take that kind of role for children, for kids, whether the dad, the actual biological father is present or not, but a man that steps up to, take on those responsibilities. I think that's what a stepdad is.
Right. Robert?
Yeah, definitely. Just Dee hit it right on the head. I mean, just stepping up, being that leader that the child may need, whether the dad is present or not. And just being that teacher, accepting them for what they're going through as well, and just being that guidance toward them that all children need. So I agree totally.
And I want to say something that while you were talking, Robert, we flashed up your picture, but that was with Jules. That's actually your blood daughter, biological daughter. So, but it was about the only picture the producer could find, or we could find, with you. You have nothing by yourself, man. But anyway, Dee looks cool with the suit by himself, but you don't have anything by yourself. So I guess you're really surrounded, man.
It's difficult to get away sometimes, but they're awesome. They're awesome.
So let me ask you this, gentlemen. How do you balance between stepdad and just being dad? Because I know also you both of you have biological children.
Oh, yeah. I'll take this one real quick, Dee, and then you could jump in. But, you know, I would say there's definitely a difference between being a stepfather and a biological father. Of course, you know, the aspects, the roles are similar, but the way you go about it is a lot different.
And add on that, Robert. I want you to add on that. What do you mean by the way you go about it? Because I'm a stepfather also, quote, even though I hate the word, because no matter what, you guys agree you are a father.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yes, sir. You know, with the biological kids, you know, it's like a natural leadership. You know, it just comes natural. You know, and the authority to you know, be allowed to teach or direct, it just comes natural. With the stepchildren, I feel like I'm constantly one step behind. You know, like having to, like if I'm walking on eggshells, and I'm sure they feel the same way about me from what I was told. So that's what I mean.
And that you would say, what would you say, Dee?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change the way that you care about it. I can't say that I'll care more about one than the other, but like I said, the role and the way that you parent them is different. When it's your biological child, you don't feel that there's a need to ask permission to do certain things, or the way that you discipline, or the way that, you know, you might handle a situation. Because with your biological, you know, you're like, that's my child, and I'll handle that accordingly to however I feel. But with the other child, it's kind of where you don't want to step over that authority, that kind of what I was saying as far as being a father figure compared to being, you know, the actual parent, because there's a biological father that might feel a certain way about things. The mother, you know, might feel a certain way about the way these things are handled. So it's just like what Robert was saying. There is kind of where the eggshells in certain circumstances.
So how do you? Let me ask you this: since you already gotten that, and I'll cut in here on you again and say, since you already got into that, how do we handle? Just say, for example, a situation like that. How do you let that child know that there is a little difference? Because you're saying there's a difference, and I want you to elaborate on that.
Just that, well, I mean, the first thing, it has to be established that you and the mom has to be on the same page in the way that the way you're treating the child. Right. Because I'm trying to figure out the right words to put it, because we're treading into thin water here, you know what I mean?
Oh, y'all don't want to get in trouble with the wives. Which one?
yeah. It's just because you know, you look at, well, you know, and it all depends, honestly, what age that you become the parent to the child.
Right.
Because like I said, it's different if you step into that role at a very young age. I mean, even if it could be from birth, 2 or 3, that makes it a lot more easier.
Right.
But when you get into where it's a teenager, preteen, things like that, they're not necessarily automatically receptive to you stepping into that role. So the way you talk to them, the way you, you know, and I guess it really always comes down to discipline, the way you assert the authority of the house and things like that. You know, those are the things that have to be put on one page, you and the wife, and then sometimes you have to bring the biological father into the fold to let you know, well, what can be done, because, I mean, I've been on both sides of that fence.
Right.
Where, you know, you're not going to talk to my child in a certain manner, and then been where I've been to just, got to respect the biological father in that way as well. So it's a slippery slope. But the way it can be managed. There are a lot of families that are able to do that, but it's, all coming together as a family and agreeing this is a way that we're going to parent, this is a way that we're going to set the rules and boundaries and things of the house. And then the child has to know that this is something that we're going to stand together and actually live by.
Right.
There's no division, because some, they can try to manipulate. Well, you can't talk to me because my mom, and then if the mom says, well, hey, you can't speak to the child in that way, then that's what causes problems. So when everybody's on one accord, the authoritative figures, the mother and father, then it's easier to manage that way. So
Robert?
I think that's probably the best way.
Yeah, definitely. I agree wholeheartedly on that. Gaining the respect from your stepchildren. I know that it's a process. Unfortunately, as much as we, the stepfather, want it to happen right away, the process does take time. And
right.
and in all reality, the children are in control. They are in control of being accepting of the father's authority figure, and sometimes could use that between the mother and the father, which I've seen that in my own relationship here with the children. But we must be willing to enter these children's lives at their pace. Unfortunately, as what I am coming to understand, and as far as the wife, the mother's role, it's best to work, behind the scenes with the mom to establish the boundaries and, the exceptions that the husband, the wife should actually allow the husband to bring his ideas to the table,
right.
And his disciplinary action to the table, and allow him to be that authority figure. And slowly, I would say, with right guidance and proper counseling from the Holy Spirit.
Here's where I want to cut in again and ask you, the both of you, this, because you're right. Usually at Man Life, we start going to an area that I think is really, really important, and this era is acceptance. And what both of you are dealing with is dealing with acceptance. Both have to work, both father, right, and the child, to accept each other. And there are some pride issues we have to get rid of, like Dee had said a while ago. Just to kind of recap, you might even have to talk with the biological father if you have contact. With my situation, as both of you know, I never had contact with the biological father. They were gone. They were they were away in another country, put it this way. So I really didn't have that. So I didn't have that issue as much. And when I jumped in, I just jumped in and just said, you know what, I'm going to go all the way in and let them know that I love them and go from there. But it's not foolproof. Nothing is foolproof until a person makes a decision. You agree?
Right.
So let's just swing on this now. Let's swing on this now. And that takes work, like Robert says, in a process. So some men can't expect that to marry the woman, be crazy for the woman. Do you agree? And 2 years or a year into it, the stepkids are just going to love me. Can they expect that?
Well, in saying that, when I first came in with in my relationship with my wife, of course, I try to be that buddy with them, and that wasn't. I guess you should say I was too buddy with them for too long. That it kind of hindered my relationship with them when things got serious. When we were 5-6 years into the relationship, and all of a sudden, I had to be more of that authority figure. Right. But I just had to express my commitment to the children. If you could just express your commitment to the children, saying, and especially to their mother, I think that really helps a lot. In my situation, expressing that I'm there for them. I'm not here for short term. I'm here for the long run, and just kind of give them those, communicate my role with them, and just let them know, I may not be a perfect person, but we could grow together, and I'm here for you.
Right.
Through thick and thin, no matter what it is.
Well, having said that, because we got a few minutes before the break for the both of you, let's talk about this then. This is where I was going to go on before the break, and then we can come back and do it after the break. What are some lessons you have learned in being a stepfather? You've already given a few, but just say one main thing. One of you can take, Dee or Robert, one main thing that you've learned being a stepfather. And then we'll come back from the break. We're going to talk about one main thing you don't do. Let's just talk about what you've learned to do as a stepfather.
Me, I'll take that. Honestly, and it kind of goes with both with children as a whole, is time. I think nothing is more valuable than actually spending time with the kids. And I mean, in everything. It's not like you haven't spent any time, but spending more time with the child, like I said, to build the trust, to build the relationship, to do things like that, to go out together by yourselves without the mother and things like that. And it lets you know, let them know that you care about them more and things like that. So I think my biggest lesson was, I think it should have been more time, having more one-on-one time with them to really, develop the relationship to the fullest. So I think that's what I learned. And I think that goes with any children, but really, when it comes to those kind of relationships.
Right. Robert, what do you say?
I would say, exactly, spend more time with them. The stepchildren need extra attention, extra love. It's just, you need to go the extra mile. I learned that when I didn't do that, I wasn't approachable. So I guess I would say, learn to be approachable to your stepchildren and not be so unapproachable and cause that division.
Yeah.
Right, but let me just say, okay, we're going to go for a break right now, but let me just say this before we do go to that. You do agree, and a lot of people don't realize that even mothers, with all respect, even our own wives, with all respect, and men, we don't realize the pain that a lot of them go through sometimes, right? When we have come out of a relationship, we have enough pain. Sometimes they even have more.
Yes.
Because they've lost something. They didn't ask to come into the world. They didn't ask for divorce. You know what I'm saying? Or separation. Right? And you can't agree upon that.
I totally agree. In some areas, and some were, and believe it or not, the stepfather and the children are basically going through the same thing. Some in their little aspect kind of way of trying to be accepted by one another, and but I do agree that the children do. And it's just so sad, it breaks my heart that they have to go through those emotional, those pains. And, that's, and I try to teach my children now as we talk, we have a real talk around the family table that when things are done out of God's order, that things like this happen. And we have to learn to do it in God's order.
Well, God's order. Well, the Bible does say, blessed is the man who takes care of the widows and the orphans. And a lot of those children are orphans once they don't have a father, even if the biological father is alive. And we've all gone through it sometimes in our own life, correct? Yeah. Well, we got to take a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to, thank you for joining in or watching the Man Like Radio podcast. And those of you who are listening later on or joining later on, thank you once again. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm talking to Dee Williams and Robert Cantu as we're dealing about stepdads. If you want to get your questions in, now's the time after this to get it in. You can go through social media. You can go to manlikeradio.com and click on the red button and go inside there and leave. You'll stay anonymous if you go through Slido. So we'll be right back on the Man Like Radio. Hello to all of you out there. Hi. All of you who are giving us thumbs up, hearts, and so forth on social media. Hey, God bless you. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining into the program today. It's a pleasure to have you. But listen, we need subscribers. We need you to subscribe to us. Now, you can subscribe to us two ways. You can do so on the social media you're watching, or you can go to manlikeradio.com and join up to our email. That's right. Subscribe to us, guys, so that way we can keep in touch. We can send you news of what's going on. At the same time, we can get together, and when we have giveaways and so forth, you can be a part of that. So once again, Thank you so much. But we do need subscribers, and we do need you to subscribe. So please take that time and go ahead and either hit the subscribe button, whatever social media you're on, or at the same time, go to manlightradio.com and send us an email at manlightradio@gmail.com. Well, let's go right back into the program. Well, we are back here on the Manlight Radio. Once again, thank you for being a part of the program. Thank you for joining in. We thank all of you. Somebody asked, and Arthur Culpepper and I spoke about this last week, why do we call it, and somebody asked me again this week, why do you call it Manlight Radio when you have video also? Well, the purpose of Manlight Radio is exactly that you can take it any place you want. You see, you can't watch a video driving a car. Well, some of you can. Yeah, and you can't do so. So the purpose in the original content was to get a radio format, podcast out there. And then you, after the podcast gets out there, then you can listen to it. Okay? And I want to give you also this. You can go to buzzsprout.com, hit Manlight Radio. For at least at this point, you can go there and you'll be able to listen to condensed version. One more thing also, you can go, if you have an iPhone, you can say Siri, and I shouldn't say it, okay, I can't say it. Anyway, you ask Siri to play Manlight Radio. Same thing with Google. You just say, Google, play Manlight Radio, and it will pop up and play on your phone, whether you have an Android or you have an iPhone. And that's another new feature we're having, or even an Echo, Amazon, Alexa. You can just say play Manlight Radio. Okay, so my guest today, my good guest, is Dee Williams and Robert Cantu. They are stepdads. Robert, how many stepkids do you have? Can't count, huh?
I got two beautiful, handsome, one handsome and beautiful stepdaughter and stepson.
Okay, and I want to say again, we're showing a picture of you right now as you're talking, that's not his stepdaughter, that's his biologically, but he loves them the same. Amen?
Yes, amen, of course.
And Dee, how many do you have? I can give that count.
And I have three. Two girls and a boy.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So let's now, Dee, well, at the end of the program, before the break, I asked Robert this question about what is one thing you've learned from being a stepdad? One good thing, good advice, I could say that. And I don't know if we got to you on that. I know Robert spoke. You want to add to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess a good thing that I learned, honestly, I would say patience. Patience is probably the first thing I learned, and to be a little, and I would say, and kind of give things to God and let God, pray about situations and things like that. Giving things to God a lot more. But honestly, it would be patience.
And you guys do agree. You guys do agree that in this form of Christian men, if we're stepfathers, that we do need to go to God a lot.
No, definitely, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough not going to him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Imagine how many people that don't have God and how they're handling it. I can imagine, not having God in my life to help through these kind of situations.
Right. So now let's flip the other side now, and let's just say this, okay? Any one of you can start this off. What would you say to a brand new? Let's start with a brand new person who is now who got all crazy when he saw the woman and she was beautiful and everything, but he forgot. He didn't realize, like we do as men, that something came with it, that God purposely allowed. Okay?
Yeah.
Something, and I don't want to say baggage because children are not baggage. Kids are not baggage. But something else came with it. What do you say? What is one thing you can say? What is one warning you can say to them? Okay, that you've learned that's not a good thing, that they need to avoid?
That's a good question.
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead, D. Go ahead, brother.
So avoid, I would say, like kind of what we were talking about before, not to rush or push things with the child, to make sure, that they know that you care for them. And it's really as much as you love that your wife to be, be willing to let the child know, that you care and love for them in the same way. That child is part of them. And if you love them, you love that package. You know, not baggage, that package deal. But don't try to push it, like I said, because of whatever hurt there might have been in the previous divorce or whatever circumstance may be. That you got to give that child time to make that adjustment, and not come off like you're trying to replace a father. You know, but you're going to be there as a father figure to care for him, to guide, protect, love, and you're there to do those things, but not replace their father. So, you know, to take that approach, you know, and let that process kind of work itself out, but make sure those things are known in the forefront. You know, I think that's probably the biggest advice I can give.
And before we get to you, Robert, I like what you said, Dee. That's really good. We could actually go with this about replacing, because Jesus didn't come to replace somebody else's father. He just came to show us the true father. Agree?
Agree. Yeah.
He didn't say, you know, your father you got with you is no good, and blah, 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 you know, and my father is better. He just said, hey, let me show you the father of fathers. That's basically what he did.
Right.
And we try that, because I've been guilty of that. We try to be a replacement, and that does not work. That's up to the child to accept that, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so Robert, what do you have to add to it? What is one thing you've learned not what to do?
Well, I mean, to the ones that are looking to get married with someone that has children, just don't half step it. I mean, don't half step it. Accept the children. Just know that there is going to be struggle. Be willing to be prepared, spiritually prepared. I wasn't spiritually prepared, and it took me a long time to start recognizing when the enemy was trying to cause the
You're cutting out. Maybe your phone is cutting out, Robert.
Okay,
you're good. Go.
Yeah. Yes. No. Just just know that you're. You know, I just what I would say. Just like I said in the last segment, just be approachable. Make yourself available to these children that are trying their hardest as well to accept you as the new the new man in their mother's life. You know, and I can't stress enough to emphasize that you are not replacing their father. That their father, just whatever happened between the mother and the father, whatever it is, that you're willing to work through, to hear them out, to be a guidance to them, to have them lean on your shoulder, be approachable in all areas. You know, even if it means sometimes having to be their stepfather at a distance. You know, I had to go through that. You know, or I had to love on them, but I couldn't. You know. In other words, I could be on the sidelines cheering them on, but I couldn't be that coach until they got comfortable enough with me, knowing that, hey, you know what, Rob really does care. He really does love my mom, and and like I said, the process, unfortunately, is in the time of the kids, and we kind of as stepfathers could get in our own way, and I know I'm guilty of being in my own way. Of my stepchildren, of my attitude, having to learn how to manage my anger and things of that nature. But the enemy will try to come against and divide the kids. Even the kids were kids. I've seen that in my own home, where one of my stepchildren has issues toward my biological because of maybe some insecurities there of jealousy or whatnot. So it's really good to have a platform of Jesus Christ in the foundation of your home to express to the family that, hey, you know what, this is not from God, this is from the enemy. So to those back to your question, is to just give it a God, like Dee said. I mean, he has to be the ultimate family counselor in most of our meetings at our house.
All right.
Because we.
Amen, brother.
Yeah,
Amen.
That's good. You know, but you know, I heard one time I was counseling a group one time. Well, it was actually a husband and wife, and they had the stepchild there. And basically, when they left, this is what it was, a teenager. This is what she said. She said, you know, it's not easy. For a number of years, I saw my mother go into the room with my father. Now she goes in the room with another man. And it takes a time for me to accept that. And she says, you know, it just takes time, and then sometimes it becomes almost like it's no big thing. But and it's true. Like I said, they do struggle a lot. They really do. You know what? We're gonna continue on this because it's really awesome in what you're saying here. Let me throw this out to you now. Now here's another flip question for you, and I think that now this might get us in trouble. But it's okay. We might as well just sink the ship. We're going down, all three of us, and never come back up again. Okay. But what do you say to a woman, a wife, who's not cooperating with situations you're talking about now? How do you deal with that?
Well,
and you don't have to even say if you've been through that. You don't incriminate yourself. Because I know that when you get off the show, you won't be heroes. I mean, you might be heroes now, but when the show is over, see, all my kids are married, so it's just me and Nellie. Okay, so how do you? One day y'all will enjoy that, but right now, no. How do you deal with that? At least, how have you?
I would say honestly,
okay, sorry, D. Hypothetical, okay, D. Hypothetical.
Yeah, well, hypothetically,
yeah.
This is where the communication comes into play. Because this where, you and your wife, you have to tell her how, you're truly feeling about the role that's being, put on, because that can cause division. That's probably the biggest thing that causes division. I mean, we probably seen many second marriages and things like that fall into divorce again because they take the side of the children. Mm-hmm. Over any kind of authority that's being established by the stepfather and things like that. So you got to talk to each other and let them know, look, in this household, we're going to live in this way. We have to be a united front against, anything that we're trying to establish as far as, just the rules, the discipline and things like that. You got to allow me to, I don't want to say assert my authority, but, be the man of the house, to be the leader in this household. Because anytime they see, the mom, disrespect what you're trying to say or disrespect what you're trying to implement, right, then, then they're going to show less respect for you. So that makes things even harder. Because then they're going to start talking to you crazy or think they can do whatever. And if the mother takes their side, then, then you're pretty much, that's chaos, and so it's got to be something firmly established between the husband and wife, how we're going to, live in our home and the things that we're going to let the children do and not do. And then we have to stand firm on what we established. And she can't, it can't be wishy-washy back and forth, things like that. And that's the only way that's going to be able to, withstand what the child's going through or what, what might be said and things that might be done, is just to be together, and it really goes into, the scriptures saying, what the authority is as far as, how you love your wife and how she submits and just, a biblical marriage, and not to and everybody plays their position, so to speak. I don't want to, go deep into, all those other things right about it, but it's pretty point blank, and then everybody has to do what they're allowed to do. The mother is a nurturer, the father is, authoritative leader, and let everybody do that, and then you understand each other and work together with that, and don't let anything come between it. So, there will be no division, and I think that's probably what's most important thing you tell a wife as we're trying to raise children. And that goes with biological and step.
Yes.
So it all, works all together as one.
Robert,
yes.
Robert, how have you dealt with it?
Well, I've dealt with it, basically, D, man, you hit it out the park right there, brother. Awesome, man. That's awesome. I agree 100 with D on that. But, as far as the mother's role, she just needs to sit back and let the father do what he has to do. Mm. Nah, I'm just playing. No, but
no, you're not playing. You're right on, man. I agree with you. Yeah, this is man-like. This is man-like, brother.
No.
Go ahead.
No, but what I really mean to say is, like Dee said, they need to establish the boundaries. We need to establish, the mother and the husband need to establish the boundaries and what the rules of the house are, come to an agreement behind the scenes, not in front of the children, of course.
Right.
And what can we do? Because at the end of the day, both y'all's responsibility is to lead your children in the right direction. And the children do have a way of turning mother against father or mother against stepfather, even biologically. I mean, we've done it as kids, and now we see our kids doing it. And I remember growing up, my dad would say, all right, you're going to have kids one day, and what goes around comes around. Now, we're seeing it now. But we do need to understand that we do need to have that foundation, and communication is key. Mm-hmm. First, communication between husband and wife. First, actually, husband and wife communication with the Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ. And then we get discernment and wisdom on how to communicate across with each other. And then we could be able to communicate down with our children. And that's probably the most important way to do it, because trust me, we've done it. So I used to be like, well, those are your stepchildren, those are your children, you deal with them, and it didn't really get us really anywhere. And to the point where then I started becoming the authority disciplinary, and I just it went through one ear and out the other. But it was no one's fault but my own, because I allowed it for so long in my home to become an infection. And now that we have gotten a good biblical teaching at our church and surrounded ourselves with people that could lead us in a way to recognize, hey, you know what, we're better together, we're stronger together.
Right.
Husband and wife, we can make this work. We could build this dynamic spiritual filled home. We can make this home a place that functions beautifully if we have Christ as our foundation. We communicate, and the mother got to let the stepfather make some decisions. And even if he messes up, it's okay. Even if he makes a wrong decision, it's okay. But that does so much for the man of the home. Give him that encouragement, compliment him. The way he handled the situation, because not all the times is he going to handle it right, but when he does, because you're quick to tell him when he does wrong, but everyone's so quick to point out your flaws. But when the man gets it right, man, love on him, show him that appreciation. It goes a long way. It goes a long way in building the dynamics between the husband and the wife.
Right. I agree with you on that. Well, we're coming down to a few minutes left of the broadcast. Anything else you want to throw out there to those who might have joined in? And again, you can get your questions in. You still have a few minutes left. Don't forget, get your questions in, and we will try and answer them. But again, a shout out to everyone on there who's actually joining us right now, both on social media, and those who come later on. Even it might be pre-recorded, it might be after it's recorded, after we go live podcast. I want to say thank you once again for being a part. Please subscribe to us. We say that, subscribe to us, and go to our website, manlightradio.com. We're giving away a free, in fact, I won't even tell you, go to Manlight Radio and you'll see for yourself. We're actually giving away for the month of February a really nice gift. But anything you gentlemen might want to say to bring this to a close? Anything else? You've said a lot, but anything else?
I mean, it's just kind of like, everything that we touched upon is things that we've experienced and went through and learned from, because, there's mistakes that are made along the way. It's just that, when it comes to the family, new established families and things like that, or whatever the circumstances may be, you can tell them, like Robert said, man, have Christ as your foundation. God will bring you through any circumstance as long as you trust him and put him first in your household, and then work from there. And because that's the biggest thing that is going on now, that the enemy is fighting. Right. It's trying to cause more division with families.
Right.
So, and that's one way that, they could try to get in, that's that crack in the window that the thief might try to come in to destroy, the whole relationship, and that makes things even worse. So just trust God, communicate with your spouse, lay down these foundations, put things in order as a family so that you can thrive and work together and have, God-fearing children, productive lives, houses, and so forth, and just go and do things in that way, and I think everything will be all right.
Right. Robert?
Before we close, I would like to say, that having my blended family is the best thing that that ever happened to me. It taught me, and it's still teaching me a lot about who I am. I think, even Jesus, even Joseph was Jesus' stepdad, and I just find out very profound that it's like Christ himself knew what the future would be, full of stepmothers and stepfathers, and there's nothing wrong with it. Of course, there's God's order, and sometimes we choose to do things out of God's order, and this is what we get. We get families that mothers and fathers divorce, or they didn't make it through, or someone brings a kid into because of adultery or whatnot. Right. And there's many circumstances that happen, and the children, unfortunately, are the ones that get the worst end of the stick, man. And I seen it in my own home growing up. My dad was a stepfather to my older brother, and my older brother never looked at my stepdad as a stepdad. He looked at him as father. And I thought it was going to be so simple. My dad made it look so easy. And when I asked him when I had situations arise with my family, all he would tell me was just, you got to love them, you got to forgive them, you got to accept them. And that, I took that to heart today. And I thank God every day for my family. And I know Brother D does too. And just like as you do, Pastor Boyd, and there's no coincidence who the people that God chooses to bring into your life. And if we get it right, it's a beautiful thing. If we allow Christ to come in and be that spiritual guidance that he is, that Holy Spirit to come in, it's an awesome thing. It's beautiful. And we just got to be aware that the enemy is trying, like Brother D said, to come in to divide the families. But we have to we have to stand post as the spiritual leader of our home and accept what God has given us, and thank God for it, because God, at the end of the day, he's the one that brought us the way he brought us together. And it's amazing what he's doing in my children's lives, my wife's life, and my brothers around, my brothers in Christ. And I just see it, man. It's beautiful. So I thank God for it. I thank God for it every day. And I'm learning, and I'm still learning, and I'm not going to stop growing. I'm just going to continue to just grow and improve what I can improve on myself. Amen. As being that leader.
Amen. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Once again, we've come to the end of another Man Like Radio. It goes in the history books. You can join in later on again in the podcast. Again, want to remind you real quickly, you can go to manlikeradio.com. That's the easiest way. And there you have all the places you can connect to. Also, you can go to, if you have your iPhone or your Android phone, you can tell Google on your Android phone to play Man Like Radio, or you can tell Siri to play Man Like Radio. If you have Amazon Echo, you can tell, or I should say Alexa, you could say play Man Like Radio. Whichever way you go, it will be coming on there. But we want to say thank you for being a part of this, gentlemen. Thank you once again. And I really appreciate your expertise, I should say, because this is one expertise you don't go to school. Well, you go to school, but I guess you never get a degree in this one. Ain't nobody graduating right. This one, right?
Or the paycheck.
Well, yeah, and I'll get a paycheck, right? Yeah. But we want to say thank you to all of you. God bless you for being a part of the thing. Until next time on the Man Like Radio. Thank you once again for joining us on this Man Like podcast. Please take time and email us at manlikeradio@gmail.com. Once again, that's manlikeradio@gmail.com. Man Like Podcast is a production of R.N. Boyd Productions and Love Gospel Network. Please seek a qualified professional in the area you need immediate help.